Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Sara. Today we're going to discuss a topic that is often misunderstood, overlooked, and undervalued, and that is emotional intelligence. Let's begin with the textbook definition of emotional intelligence, which is often called EQ or emotional quotient, which you're familiar with because of intelligence quotient or IQ. So, emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions and to handle interpersonal relationships with empathy. Key skills involved in emotional intelligence are being able to perceive, reason, understand, and manage emotions. So that's the definition. Now, we all have examples in our lives of people that have good, strong emotional intelligence. They're usually motivated, they have good social skills, they have the ability to remain calm in a chaotic manner. These are people that we usually are drawn to because they do put out positive vibes and de-escalate situations. At the same time, we all have examples in our lives of people who aren't very strong with emotional intelligence. And these are the people that will become angry very quickly, become emotionally triggered, will accuse you of making them angry or getting them upset. And people that just can't control themselves. And in pop culture, that's easily identified as Bruce Banner becoming the Incredible Hulk. It's, I became angry and you won't like me when I'm angry. And that's kind of a maladaptive because people don't make us angry. We allow ourselves to become angry because of certain behaviors. On the flip side, I have read that sometimes people can have emotional intelligence that's so high, they're so strong that they can't be creative, that they have to control everything, and it's hard for them to let go emotionally and to find an artistic outlet. And that's kind of sad. So, like with everything in life, it's the balance. And we're going to talk about how we can recognize emotional intelligence in ourselves and improve and develop it. Because although there are people with a natural tendency, people who have this inane inner born with ability to have strong emotional intelligence, it can be developed. It's not something that's just a hopeless case. It's not, well, I don't have it, so I'm not going to bother with it, because you can improve it and develop it in yourself. I recommend the website Very Well Mind, and we're going to put the link down below. This is a website about all kinds of mental health topics, personalities. There's lots of tools there, lots of tips and things to help you become more positive in your life and to make some of the changes that you need to make. It's just a good all around website with a lot of basic information. It talks a lot about emotional intelligence and actually has a couple of little quizzes that you could take to indicate whether or not you have a high EQ or not. I've always found it very interesting because this was something that was first brought to my mind by my director, who encouraged me to be the interim manager when I first got into leadership. And she told me that she saw in me a strong EQ, and she felt this was something that wasn't easily taught. And she would rather be faced with the challenge of teaching me the technical aspects of the job rather than teaching me how to handle things emotionally. So I took that as a great compliment, and I've been interested in the subject ever since. So let's talk about some of the things that we can do to improve our emotional intelligence and maybe help understand it a little bit better. First and foremost, whenever you're looking to change personality or kind of help with the way that you deal in the world, you always begin with self-awareness. And self-awareness is really taking the time to reflect on your emotions, times that you've been angry, times that you've been upset, times that you have gone out of control. And I'll put that in quotation marks, out of control. What caused that? What were the triggers behind it? What was going on in your world to cause you to react this way? Having this self-awareness is the first step in being able to say, oh, now I need to back down. I need to take a breath. I need to stop and think. A lot of self-awareness requires mindfulness. So if there are certain words that trigger you, or a certain offhanded comment, I've known people who said that whenever they hear the word whatever, if someone answers whatever, they take that as an insult, and that word makes them very angry, because they feel that the person who said it isn't really listening to them, and so they get emotional around that word. And we all have something that causes us to go, ugh, I don't like that. I don't like the way that word or that expression makes me feel. So because it's different for everyone out there, you need to think it through. Maybe get a trusted friend or someone close to you, your significant other, and kind of talk to them and ask them, do you notice things that cause me to react emotionally? And be prepared and open-minded to listen. Developing empathy. Empathy is a very key component to emotional intelligence. And sometimes people get empathy confused with sympathy. Sympathy is the ability to feel sorry for someone. If you have sympathy for someone, you feel sorry for what's going on. Empathy, on the other hand, means you understand how they feel. So to empathize with someone means you may not have gone through something similar, but you understand the emotion that is going on within them. And that is also being aware and listening, truly listening to what the other person is telling you. Those are things that will help you develop empathy. And for myself, I find that I am, even, at 58 years old, developing more empathy and gaining a broader understanding of people in different situations for myself through social media. And it may sound funny, but I use TikTok in this way. Some people really love TikTok because of the jokes and the funny things that they see on there. And there is a lot of really silly, funny things on TikTok. But then there is also groups of people and support groups out there of people that are going through things that I'm not going through. People that have different life experiences that I have never had. And to hear their struggles, or to hear their triumphs, or to hear the things that they see are important, it's helping me. It's helping me to understand. When I watch a TikTok from a trans person, and that trans person is celebrating the fact that their gender was recognized by someone out in public, that someone said, "Thank you, sir," or "Yes, ma'am," or "Excuse me, miss, can you help me?" That validation that they feel when these things happen, that's just an example of me, helping me to be aware. There's a lot of things out there that I find very interesting, and people from different walks of life. On TikTok, there's a group of sex workers that talk about their lives and what they face every day, and who they really are. And it just helps me to keep my mind open and to not make any type of a judgment about them, and to gain empathy and to develop my empathy for others. So it may not be the way you choose to do it, but that's the way I have chosen to kind of help broaden and strengthen my empathy. Self-regulation. Self-regulation is when you have gained this awareness, you know that something is going to cause you to react, you know that this is a potential to trigger a deep emotional response in you, and you stop. And you give yourself a moment to breathe, you get away from the situation, you just say, whoa, I'm not going to react right now. And that's good. That's being mindful. That's really listening to what the other person's telling you and realizing that you have to take yourself out of it. You have to take your emotions out of this conversation. And after a while, you can do this during the conversation. You're able to just pull yourself away. I found that I could do that. In the early days, when you're developing your emotional intelligence, you may have to physically say, give me a moment. Let's get back to this, and walk away or focus on something different and come back to it. But after a while, you can do that mental gymnastics. You can say in your head, I need to slow down. I can't react to this right now. Another component to really developing emotional intelligence is to identify the causes of your emotion. Now, earlier I talked about triggers, and triggers are usually words or comments, things, events that happen. People talk about something that happened that triggers in your mind. This other identify is think about your environment and what might be going on that could heighten your emotion. For me, for instance, my anxiety level rises when I'm surrounded by a mess. So if I am sitting in an office and there are papers stacked up everywhere and everything in a jumble and disarrayed, my anxiety level climbs. If it's someone else's office, I can't do anything about that except realize that I'm in a space that is anxiety producing and that I need to just not think about it and let that go. If it's my own space, then I clean it up. And as a traveling manager and I go in, that's one of the very first things I do is I organize the office and I get rid of the clutter, which is usually left in a big mess because people leave in a hurry and they don't care anymore. So I have to organize that. And as I organize that, I feel my anxiety drop. So think about what is going on. Is there something at home that's weighing on your mind? Is there something out there in the world? I mean, in these past few years, we have had so many external stressors on us. We have been living with an underlying tension for years now, and that is political tension, that is the pandemic tension, that is all the things that are going on in our world around us that we can't get away from. That just rides right there emotionally. And depending on the day and what's going on in your life, those external things may be affecting you more than others. And being aware of that, and being aware that maybe this is not the right morning to call someone in and have a conversation about their behavior, that maybe you might need to wait till you're in a little bit different frame of mind. That is part of identifying what causes these triggers. Now, when you become aware and you know what's going on and you can start to really get a handle on your emotions and not let them handle you, but you start handling your emotions, the next step is to start to change your thought patterns. and don't go down the familiar thought patterns that you've had. A good example of this is, say you have a friend that you text every day or you talk to every day, and one day you don't hear from them. If you have a low emotional intelligence, you may perceive that as, oh my gosh, they hate me. My friend somehow just doesn't want to talk to me anymore. What's going on? Why is my friend ignoring me? What have I done wrong? And your mind just starts going through all these thoughts of things that you may have said or done that created this rift, when in reality, your friend just got busy with something. Family, something caught their attention and they weren't able to get to you. And that's what you have to start to turn off, these negative, what did I do wrong, the self-blame, and these triggers of these emotions of anger and betrayal and all the things that you start to feel. Turn that off by changing your thoughts to, oh gee, my friend must be really busy today. I hope everything's all right. And you send them that kind of a message. I hope your day is going all right. I haven't heard from you. I hope all is well. Get in that thought, because honestly, it's not about you. It's almost never about you. A good friend will tell you if it is, but most of the time it's something they're going through. And it's the same thing with your employees. When you have an employee who's behaving differently or reacting to you in a certain way that might trigger you, it's what the employee is going through in their life, and more than likely has nothing to do with you. So changing the way we think about things tied to emotion also helps to improve our emotional intelligence and helps us to be able to handle things, to be the calm, to be able to get past our own reactions and just listen to what someone is telling us. And that could be our friend, our significant other, our employee, a coworker, any personal relationship that you have. Being mindful, being in the moment, truly listening to what they're saying, and having the ability to understand their emotion and have empathy with why this situation is causing them to be sad or getting them angry, and that it's not you. Taking yourself away from the emotion. I think this is a topic that really needs a lot more attention. I think that when you see it, it's easy to recognize both sides of it, someone who's low and someone who's high. I think good leaders are ones who have it. And I encourage anyone who is hiring a manager, hiring someone to be an assistant, hiring someone to take a management position, that they look at their candidates and try to gauge who's the person that walks into a chaos and calms the room down. Who's the person that can use redirection to get the emotion out of a situation and know their own emotions. I want to end by saying there is a time when it's appropriate to show your emotions. There are times to let your employees, people you work with, see you as a human, see you reacting to something. That's a good thing. It's realizing when and realizing how much. It's don't be uncontrollably sad, uncontrollably angry. But it's quite all right to let someone know, I'm really angry right now, or this has got me upset. I'm going to need a few moments. I'm going to need some time to think about this. And that is perfectly acceptable. That makes you human. Having something bring sadness to you and letting people know that you're sad, that is a way to connect with others as well. If there's something tragic happening, it's okay to allow your emotions to show, to bond with others who are going through the similar emotion. That's all right. It's just kind of learning your way, that fine line of what's too much and what is just right. And that comes with experience and that comes with time. Sometimes when people are sitting in front of you crying their eyes out, it's best if you just sit there and let them cry their eyes out and give them that moment. Other times they're in front of you and they're telling you something horrific and they're crying their eyes out and it gets you a little emotional. It's okay. Our emotions are ours. We own them. We control them. And we need to find also good outlets for releasing our emotions. Don't walk around with them tightened so much. Be creative. Draw pictures, write stories. Just find ways that you can express yourself through song, through dance, a way to release your emotions. The time for emotional intelligence is when you're interacting with others, when you're managing people, when you're in a volatile situation. That's when you shine, when you have strong emotional intelligence. So I'm going to leave you with these thoughts. As always, I'm not an expert. These conversations are just me talking to you about what I've observed, what I've lived through. I want to thank Helen. She is the one who recommended that we have a conversation about emotional intelligence, and I appreciate that she did. And absolutely, if any of you have an idea or thought or topic you would like for me to discuss, please reach out to me, send me a message. You can write something here on YouTube. You can write something on Facebook, whatever it is, however you want to communicate with me. I do appreciate it, and I will do my best to speak to anything you want to talk about. And thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.